Hey, welcome to Rider Raise. This week we are looking at 1 John 4, 7 through 10. This study is called God is Love. Now, in 1967, the Beatles sang John Lennon's song, All You Need Is Love, on the Our World TV program, which was really the first internationally live via satellite broadcast. And so that was a big deal. But they sang All You Need Is Love. Now, the simplistic song repeats the word love over 100 times and has the famous phrases, all you need is love, and love is all you need. Lennon compared his song to a slogan or a television advertising program. He saw it as a propaganda piece. It fit in nicely with the summer of love and the growing sentiment in society, especially among the younger generation. Their parents had fought and suffered in World War II and the Korean War. America was entangled in the Vietnam War at the time. What can change society and usher in a utopian era of peace and harmony? All you need is love. Brian Epstein, the band's manager, and he said about the song that the nice thing about it is that it cannot be misinterpreted. It's a clear message saying that love is everything. That much is true. The song was embraced by many as the guiding light of their lives. Yet the problem with the song is not what it says, but what it doesn't say. Love is all you need. Okay, but what is love? What kind of love? The song is about loving one another. What does that look like? By what standard do we judge what love is? Now, Webster, he defined the word love as an affection of the mind excited by beauty and worth of any kind, or by the qualities of an object which communicate pleasure, sensual or intellectual. It is opposed to hatred. He then goes into an explanation of various kinds of love to explain what love is. He speaks of romantic love and friendship. He describes love between family members, the filial love, which is even displayed by irrational animals, he says. He mentions the love of things, or whatever contributes to our pleasure or supposed profit. Love can mean courtship. Love means patriotism. Love means goodwill. Love can mean the thing that is loved. That is love. Love is a word of endearment. Love can mean lewdness, even. So if love is all we need and love wins, well, what love are we talking about here? Sloganeering is fine to sell things like diapers, which the Love's diapers used all you need is loves. And it works for utopian sentimentality. But what about reality here? Is there love that can bring about change in our lives? Change in our society, change in our world? Yes, it is the love of God. Those other loves have their place, but the love of God and the love that God places in the heart of his people is the ultimate love. And Webster said, the love of God is the first duty of man. This is the love that John is writing about here in his letter. We dare not insert any lesser form of love here. If we try to replace it with something else, it falls apart. He, from the beginning of his letter, is talking about the love that is found in God and which comes from God. It's the same love with which we are commanded to love one another. And that is why John, after speaking about testing the spirits and the continual testing that we must engage in, is now ready to return back to this topic of love. The spirit of error would pass off lesser forms of love as the standard by which we are to love God and to love one another. So the spirit of error would seek to go after things that are not counterfeit, but they're just lesser. They're cheaper forms of love. But the spirit of truth says, no, there is a God-given standard, a God-given love. And that is ultimate love, and that's what we're talking about here. That's the love we have to love each other with. Not the lesser forms of love. Not that they don't have a place, but they're lesser forms. They're cheaper forms. But what John's been talking about here is really loving the way that God loves, loving the way that God has commanded, and that is according to His standard, not according to these lesser loves that we have. Because we use the word in a lot of different ways. I can say I love pizza, I love my car, I love my wife, I love my God. And those are all different kinds of love. But really, the love that I have for my God and for my wife should be pretty close to the same. There's a standard there by which we love other people, which supersedes all other loves, because it's the same love that we have for God, and it should be the same love. We like to change it and make it separate, so I can say, well, I love God, but I don't love the church, and then we try to separate that out. But John here says, no, you can't do that. Either love God and His people, or you don't love God at all. You don't know what love is then. You can say you love God's people and hate God, but then you don't really love God's people. So those two go hand in hand, cannot be separated. And I think John has made that point very clear, and he's going to do it again here. So the question I want you to think about as we go through this text are, do you know love? Have you seen love? And have you been saved by love? So do you know love? Have you seen love? Have you been saved by love? So come back next time. We'll take a look at the first question. Do you know love?